If you saw the stream quickly switch over there, that was me checking to make sure everything is good, and it looks like it is. From week number 3 at Snetterton, a hectic race in Great Britain, we head over to week 4 of the North American Sim Racing Series at Suzuka International Raceway for the 4th round of the Tuesday night split for the North American Sim Racing Series. Hi folks, my name is Jackson Lambros. Very excited to have you guys with us tonight for what should be a very exciting, very much a fan favorite race for both the drivers and fans alike. Very, very challenging circuit, very rewarding if you get it right. Potential for some really, really good racing. Final briefing underway. Should have some cars on track here for the final 10 minutes of practice, and then we will go on to qualify and race here in just a couple of moments. Stay with us. Final 10 minutes of practice underway here for week number 4. As we're looking at your winner in the AM category, Adriel Lugo Ortiz. In that number 12 AMG, that might have been a track limit violation right there. You can see just from the outline, for those not too familiar with Suzuka, just how unique of a track this is. Only figure of 8 configuration that the Formula 1 series visits in the real world, one of very, very few. But a very interesting variety of corners here. Let's ride with your defending winner here around the home of the Japanese Grand Prix, down the front straightaway. Turn 1, lay brakes, can really trail it out, run it to the outside here, can work the limits. Back on the power, can use all of that outside curbing. Through the S's, not a right way to do this, not a wrong way to do this. What you want to know is carry as much momentum as possible, run the curbs, and you can use the brake, and you can downshift to your advantage to kind of help the car rotate. Last section here, through Dunlop, very hard off camera. You can see Lugo Ortiz running it all the way to the outside there before tucking back in. Through the Deggers, very hard. Fast flicks to the right. Here's the second. Can run this very wide. Can get those right wheels over the curbing. Into the hairpin, feather it a bit to get to the right side, then brake at the end of the curbing. As Lugo Ortiz sends it maybe a tad too much there, but gets on the power nice and early to get as much speed here. 200R, you can see him kind of walking the car to the left here as we head under the little Suzuka banner. Another trail-breaking corner. Spoon gets it right at the access road there. Just like the first corner, can carry it a bit to the outside, tap of the brakes. Slowly get on the power here. This is where track limits can get you. Back straightaway in the club pits there on your right. And now one of the most challenging corners in the circuit, 130R. Quick, dab the brakes, flick the car in left. Like Lugo Ortiz there, you can get caught up just a couple miles an hour too early and go wide and lose lap time there. Through the chicane, can run a lot of curb there depending on the car. Final turn downhill, very challenging to keep it on the right part for optimum time for a lap of Suzuka. So Lugo Ortiz fastest so far here in our happy hour practice. In the Pro Division, again, only 15 drivers tonight for this Halloween week race. But the return of somebody that we haven't seen for a few weeks, Greg Cacciadurian, your winner at Silverstone, returns, and if you ask any of the drivers in the grid, he is 100% a fan favorite to win this thing in the Pro category. Now that means we cannot, of course, count out your two-time winner so far this season, Michael Charles. Of course, your race winner from last week at Snetterton. Won as well the week prior in Barcelona. I'll say this, I wish we had the replay. We missed a recovery drive for Michael Charles as he had some incident that made him lose his pole position and went down to fourth. That was not just a spin. Michael did a full 20, or excuse me, a full 720. Managed to recover it and do one better on Danny Sullivan. And we watched him come back from fourth to not just get the lead back from Lugo Ortiz and Zach Baclair, but work his way onto his second win in a row after winning in Catalunya. In what is, of course, Honda's home race, and I don't mean that in a home country race, as that would apply also to the Toyotas or excuse me, the Lexi that we usually see in this race weekend. Not a lot of Nissans anymore at NASRS, but very much a Honda property. We'll get into that a little bit during race time here. As we can see, Michael Charles, a great execution there through 130R there, getting just the left tires right over the curbing, hugging that right side curbing down the hill. What does a lap at pace look like for the man from Trinidad? Fastest in the section, 159. So the return of Cacciadurian, and one guy we haven't really talked about since Barcelona is Jeffrey Arroyan, which is so disappointing when you consider the drive he had. Pounced on a last-minute error from, was it Raf Cabrera? I'm trying to remember the name right now off the top of my head. But in a last-minute effort, managed to sneak it by and get a podium drive in Barcelona. Had a quiet weekend. It was the man who just joined. It was Jorge Blasini Rivera, excuse me. Was a last-minute effort to get by Blasini Rivera, force an effort force an error and get himself into the podium there. So we didn't necessarily see a huge fight for the lead at the start of the last couple of races. You've got two heavyweight fighters at the front of this field in the form of Charles and Kashadurian. In further back, you've got Hayne and Joaquin Munoz. Both of those guys have been absolutely fighting for podiums in the AM division. Loic Michaud has also shown insane pace at this track in history, but kind of like a lot of these guys, Kachadurian, Don Debian, who just rejoins us for the first time this season. Just a lot of guys that haven't really gotten a lot of time to run. So going to be very interesting to see what these guys will be able to do. Arroyo into the line, it's a 2:013. 10th better than his last one, 2:014. Yellow dot there was Joaquin Munoz on the mini-map, who pushed it a little bit too hard there through the Degnas. And again, what makes that such a difficult corner is not just that it's a fast flick like 130R right above it, but how big the curbing is. Because you want to run as much as possible, and in a front-engine absolute yacht like the Mustang, no big. But any of these individuals towards the front, Mikhail Charles is your best example, trying to navigate around those corners, just running a little bit too much is going to upset that car greatly. Checkered flag and happy hour practice. Charles will lead in pro. Adriel Lugo Ortiz in M. Royan going to put his last lap time on the board, as well as Raf Cabrera. Sophomore race for Paul Liu. He'll try to get one on the board here before the end of the session. The lone Lamborghini in this field. By the F1 timing line, we use the one right here where the 3 lights are, or the 5 lights, excuse me. More building blocks for him, a 2:01.302. Blue Dragon Racing's Peter Liu. And it is go fast time here. We'll wait for the cars to blend here and get back in the action momentarily. Stay with us. Go Fast time at Suzuka International Raceway. Thank you guys so much for joining us on this Tuesday night. My name is Jackson Lambros. I know you don't want to see my face, but I want to thank you guys for coming out because it means a lot, not just for me, but for the drivers who put in effort to put on the best show they can. And we see that more than anybody in this man right here, Davin Stridovant, owner and coach, as we see a skin pack that needs to be upgraded. But Randy Gross put together an absolute stunner for this race. I'm sure someone in chat has the means to show that for me, because this is not doing it justice. Of course, our NASRS regular Randy Gross, very much a livery professional when it comes to this kind of thing. But Davin, of course, acquired the league and has been a model when it comes to the professionalism, to the etiquette on track, on and off track, frankly, for this. And I think if you ask a lot of drivers what the first track they might have driven in the North American Sim Racing Series, it might have been right here at Suzuka, 100-car big grid event, which obviously, for those of you who know, did not start in a great way, but in an absolute, like, 30-car pileup, that's what inspired Davin and everybody to kind of, you know, increase coaching resources, make this as much of a beginner-friendly track, frankly friendly for all skill levels, but learn how to coexist on track together. So to call it a tradition in NASRS is maybe a bit of a stretch, but it definitely feels like a homecoming for some of these drivers. First flying laps underway. By the way, your reference for real life, Lauren Heinrich set a 2:01.4 in a Porsche 992 GT3. That's in Fanatec GT World Challenge Japan. In Super GT, Morio Nida in a Lexus GT3 did a 1:59.2, and we know that's possible. Lugo Ortiz already within a second. 2:08. So already beating SRO records there in that Mercedes AMG. So far has been fastest in all three sectors. All drivers out of the pits for the moment except one. It's Mikhail Charles. And the question really is, what can we see from him? And maybe what can we see from Jeffrey Arroyan? Leapfrogs Lugo Ortiz, does a 2:08.55, just under half a second faster than Lugo Ortiz. And now all of these guys digging. Both Sturdivant and Beauclair, you can hear ahead of him. Excuse me, that's the other Porsche. Joaquin Munoz ahead of him. And we just watched, passing the stripe, the moment a lot of us expected. Kashadurian, 2:16. Lugo Ortiz, by the way, returned fire there with a 3.5. He's faster than Cash in Sectors 1, but Kashadurian has 2 and 3 locked down for the time being. And right now putting another half second on that best. Lucini Rivera now with the fastest Sector 1. He'll go up to 4th in that teal McLaren. But right now, half second. I'm looking at the Delta right now. Could be the first one getting a sub-minute run. .130R. Is it Tad Merciful with the track limits there? Hard on the brakes into Casio Triangle, the name of this later added on chicane. To the line, our magic numbers, 2 minutes 1:6. Cash to the stripe, 1:59.612. And I think he knows he might not be putting a better lap together for now, so we'll see. So the question remains right now, what's up with Michael Charles? Because we know he has pace. Perhaps could be waiting for clean air or waiting for some guys to back out of it. We will see. Even Stevens for Adriel Lugo Ortiz does a 2:05 on the dot. Provisional pole sitter in the AM category. We really should get this guy some silver number plates because he needs it as he goes wide through the Dunlop curve. Check in with the other Mustang, Jeffrey Arroyan, who I think backed out of it here through Casio Triangle. Took an interesting line through the chicane there. Arroyan still looking for his first win of the season. Builds on that lap, best for 3rd. Now everybody in the top 10 here kind of has negative deltas. Let's see what the rookie Peter Liu can do. Under the bridge. There we go, that's a better view. Runs to the curbing there. Going into the hairpin, which is certainly interesting. Last thing you want to do there is kind of upset the car, especially when you're getting in one of the heavier braking points on the track. Both of the V10 Goliaths in the favor of the Lamborghini Huracan and the Audi R8 we have seen less and less. But Peter Liu and a handful of others continue to fly the flag. Down the final corner for the last time. Halfway through qualifying. Not good enough to build on his best there. Couple of errors there for the Canadian. Quick look back in pit lane. Louis Michaud managed to build on his own times. He's good for top 10 right now. 3rd in the AM division. Behind Carter Hayne. Lugo Ortiz on pole. But it is all eyes. Where is he? There he is. All eyes on Michael Charles. The lap we've been waiting for. He's waited for the track to clear up and cool down. And here we go. Doesn't use any of the curbing there through turn 1. Keeps it a very, very tight radius. But maximizes that exit curbing available as he manjis his way through the S's. He's got one of the Hondas in front of him. I believe that's Raf Cabrera. No, it's not. David Sturdivant in front of him. That will for sure hurt him to an extent, but already some major improvements for him. Sturdivant plays the nice guy, lets him go. Dirty air not as big of an issue in these cars as open wheelers, but definitely in effect, especially when you're seemingly always turning on a track like Suzuka. Through Spoon, taps on the brakes straight, and then works it onto the back straightaway here. How brave is he going to be through 130R? Bit of a lift, gets back on it, left wheel's all the way on there into Casio Triangle. As we hear Dave in the chat call him the yellow missile. Looks good on his first lap. What's he got as he comes to the stripe? Second fastest, a 2.2. How about that? Still almost 0.6 of a second off from Greg Kashadarian. But with no warm-up, that is absolutely nothing to scoff at. He continues to build on that lap time. So too does Jeff Arroyan, just a little bit further up the way with a really, really good delta. Both him and the other Mustang in 9th right now, Arjun Lakshmi Narasimhan, trying to advance their way further up the top 10. 5 minutes to go in qualifying here at Suzuka. Kashadarian leads in pro. Edville Lugo Ortiz and M. We're watching Jeffrey Arroyan try to get himself in the front row here. We'll switch back after this lap with Jeffrey, but it is looking very solid for Charles just a little bit further back. There's the yellow missile behind him. 130R, about the same as Charles had it last time through Casio Triangle. Can run a lot of curb in this Mustang. Lost a good chunk of time on his last one. This could be the one here for Mikhail Charles, though. Arroyan to the line, it's second best for now, but for Mikhail Charles, it's pole position provisionally, 159.455, and a big slide through the first corner. And the potential Achilles rips instantly after that flyer of a lap. And some return fire maybe on the way from Greg Kashadarian. He runs very wide there through Degner. Mikhail Charles with a 159.4. Kashadarian 0.15 back, then Jeffrey Arroyan 0.725 back. Best sector one of the session there. Kashidarian loses a lot of delta though. Again, I'm not sure if that lap was invalidated or not. Back on it here. 2 minutes on the clock. Realistically, he's got one solid run out of him. Looking at the body language so far, the rest of the field, Charles is well out of it. Looks like he'll be done. On board the Podium Hunters machine of Greg Kashidarian. Through the Degners, he's got to watch the track limits here. Just a tap of the curb on the inside, gets on the gas super early there. The hairpin brakes right after that curbing on the right ends. Hugs the inside there and gets on nice and early. Everybody kind of running it to the left here through 200R. Onto Spoon. Actually gives it a little bit of throttle there through Spoon. Doesn't even hit that inside second apex. Up 0.35 from his last one. This one's got a chance. Through 130. Gonna be close on track limits. I'm not sure if that's valid. Casio triangle for the final time. Almost up half a second here. Down the hill to the line. Back to the bottom of the track, but top of the leaderboard for Greg Kashidarian. Pole position for the second time this season. Arroyan builds on his last run, but it won't be enough. He'll start third alongside the AM pole setter, Adriel Lugo Ortiz. Carter Hayne will be just a row behind him, will be the closest competition in AM. He'll be alongside Jorge Blasini Rivera. We'll see if he can build anything here. It's going to be close. Not sure it's going to be enough. Two cars left on track. It's Greg Kashidarian, who I'm not sure if he still has something left in that car. And Loey Michel. You can hear that Coyote V8 in the background there. Second race of the season, or excuse me, third race of the season for the Frenchman. Almost even on his time right now, trying to leapfrog Zach Leclerc for 8th. Last driver to the line here in qualifying. So it will be Greg Kachadurian. Apologize for my issues there. It was actually Charles who's swept every single pole so far this season. Greg Kachadurian has broken that streak, and he'll lead off on the inside of row 1 alongside Mikel Charles for the main event. We'll go through the starting grid with you in a couple minutes here and go through the entire setup for this race in just a little bit. Stay with us. The first ever NASRS endurance race is on the horizon. The 4 hours of Watkins Glen, November 23rd at 6 p.m. Eastern, hosted by NASRS, which means you can invite whoever you want. Get your endurance teams together. Ask that sim racing friend if you haven't spoken to him in a month. Anyone that can drive and will drive is open to join this. One-off event for the time being, using it to see how popular it will be. So if you want more where this came from, make sure to get the word out. Signups will be on SimGrid. GT3 cars teams of 2 to 4. No solo teams to prevent aliens from beating everyone out. Will be hosted by yours truly and streamed right here on the NASRS YouTube channel. Huge thanks to Michael Quant for putting this together, and very, very excited to see what will happen in a couple weeks' time at Watkins Glen. Again, Jackson Lambros with you in the booth. Race time here at Suzuka as we're watching Michael Charles ghost into our pole sitter, Greg Kashadarian. Your two guys on the front row right now. Here's the rest of your starting grid for the time being. It's Kashadarian alongside Mikhail Charles. In third, Jeffrey Arroyan. Fourth is Edriel Lugo Ortiz. Fifth, Jorge Blasini Rivera. Sixth is Carter Hayne. 7, Davin Sturdivant. 8th is Zach Leclerc. 9th is Lois Michaud. 10th is Arjun Lakshmi Narasimhan. 11th, making his return, is Don Debian. 12th, Grayson Head. 13th, rookie Peter Liu. 14th, Raf Cabrera. 15th, Joaquin Munoz. And rounding out the field is John Crane. So 1 minute and 5 on the clock here. Of course, if you're a regular, you know the rules. If not, one required pit stop. You can pretty much pit whenever you want. No requirement to take tires, but you do need to take fuel. Again, this is not a Snetterton type scenario where maybe you skip for tires. You're gonna go through them in this scenario. And considering the 30 seconds in the box, and this is one of the longer pit straights we'll visit this year, this is going to be one of the more costly pit stops you'll have to take. Well over a minute you'll have to sacrifice in the box. Stacking up here through the Casio Triangle. In what is Honda's home race, we have a very Honda heavy field of these 16 drivers tonight. Can Greg Kashadarian respond to the streak Mikhail Charles has been on? What can Edriel Lugo Ortiz do? Can anyone bring the fight to him? Can Carter Hayne bring the fight to him in the rookie division? Can we see a new winner in either of these categories? And are we going to have, as always, a clean first lap here? Hour and 5 to figure that out. But let's get going. Let's get racing here at Suzuka. Race 4 underway. Great start from Childs. He'll defend to the outside. Lugo Ortiz going to try the outside. He's later on the brakes. Carter Hayne really gets it going around the outside there. Kashadarian tucks in behind. Everyone double file through the back there. Carter Hayne tries the outside, pays the price. Blasini Rivera goes through. Through the S's for the first time. That's Arjun Lakshmi trying to make an advancement on Zach Leclerc. Almost drops 2 of his tires in the grass there. Don Debian holding off from Rafael Cabrera. He'll jump to the inside. They'll make contact through Dunlop. That'll check him up big time. Here comes Peter Liu. Under the bridge for the first time. Other than that little bit of contact, a very clean first start there. Arjun Lakshminarasimhan getting a little bit wide there. Holds his position for the time being. He's got Grayson Head on his tail. I got the name right. I'm getting the name right. Winners of the whole shot so far, Raf Cabrera and Joaquin Munoz both up 2 positions. Peter Liu and Don Debian dropping 3. Charles takes the lead from Greg Kashadurian. So Charles is exactly where he wants to be in this scenario. But you've got a man who can certainly bring the fight behind him. Further back, Lugo Ortiz versus Jeff Arroyan takes a peek at the outside into turn number 1. Such a brake-heavy turn. As now Blasini Rivera is going to try to get in the fight here. This is for 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Bit of dust kicked up there by Lugo Ortiz. Relatively clean start here, but we've already got the conga lines in order here. As we've got these 2 further back, we've got a Honda battle. Gavin Sturdivant trying to get behind Carter Hayne. Both of these guys battled big time last week in Snetterton. Carter Hayne holding off, I believe it was Edriel Lugo Ortiz. Zach Leclerc also coming off of his first podium of the season at Snetterton. Still very, very tight for the time being. Still at the front as well. Carter Hayne off of a Minister of Defense driving the Tennessee native. He's trying to hold off Sensei Sturdivant right now. Two Hondas going at it in the track that was actually commissioned by Honda as a testing or proving ground for their motor cars and road bikes at the tail end of the 20th century. Had many original prototypes. Originally, the Honda company wanted not just 1, but 2 overlaps on the track. I don't know if you call that a figure of 8, a double 8 kind of configuration. But ultimately became the sort of shape you see on the right side of your screen. Only big addition in its history is the addition of the Casio Triangle for safety's sake. Used to be a long sweeping right-hander down the hill, which is of course the famous spot where Alan Prost and Ayrton Senna collided in the 80s during their title fight in Formula 1. On board with Jorge Blasini Rivera, who's been looking for his break all season long. He's looking at the back of Jeffrey Arroyo and Edriel Lugo Ortiz. Here's her second train developing. Battle for the top 10. Zach Leclerc, Loic Michaud, and Grayson Head. Good run down 200R for Leclerc. I'm not sure if we're going to see a look here around Spoon. We won't. But it's a bit of hemorrhaging right now behind Arjun Lakshminarasimhan. Fastest man on Xbox controller in that jumpy whale Ford Mustang. Fastest lap lap so far to no one's surprise. It's Mikel Charles, but Greg Kachadurian is right alongside. He'll look along the outside here into turn number 1, side by side to the first apex. Charles hangs on to the inside. Maybe a thought of an over-under from Kachadurian, but right on his bumper here as we go into the S's. A great move here from Greg Kachadurian. 4 seconds up from Edriel Lugo-Ortiz. These two are already in a league of their own. As we're watching Rafael Cabrera do the same right now, holding off Joaquin Munoz. Just to remind you, this is the first time in at least 2 weeks Kachadurian has been behind the wheel. And he wants to return with a win. Charles was looking incredibly racy at Silverstone when Kachadurian won, but a monster overtake on both of them got Charles hot under the collar, admitted his own mistake, crashed out of race 1. Still looking like a favorite here for the Season 22 championship, obviously. But we will have to see if there's anything Greg Kachadurian can do to put a block on that point stream. I've said it before over the past month. I'm going to say it again. We're only 5 minutes in the race. These guys are racing like there's 5 minutes left on the clock. Arroyan with a run as well. Further up to the front. Now maybe a little bit of a look to the inside from Greg Kachadurian. Can't make it stick. Key spot to overtake is turn 1. There's plenty of other places if you're brave enough. The hairpin. You can maybe get enough of a wide mistake on the S's. You can force something to go through here. You're for sure not going to get it done through the Degnas. Spoon also a possibility, but definitely a much tighter radius than the first corner, so will be difficult. We're already seeing guys push the limits here through the Degnas under the bridge. We've got a yellow flag. It's trouble for Zach Leclerc. I'm not entirely sure what happened. We'll get back to that when we can, but I'm going to assume that was an error. He's standing on the brakes right now. And that is heartbreak for someone. It was already looking like a stretch maybe for a back-to-back podium. But we will see. Blasini Rivera slowly getting closer to the back of this train. Was just kind of Lugo-Ortiz and Arroyan at the start of this. That gap has closed massively. Lugo-Ortiz goes a little bit wide there, but he's making that Mercedes as difficult to pass as possible. Might be a bit of a run. We know how much power that Mustang has. To the inside. Almost gets to the bumper. He'll back off early, but Blasini Rivera gets a really good run there, letting it flow around the outside. Flows it right to the back bumper of Jeffrey Arroyan. And now the script is kind of flipped here in this fight. Arroyan, who was going for 4th, now has to hold off 5th. Or excuse me, hold off 4th. Lugo-Ortiz stays comfy here in that rookie category, but podium battle for sure further back. Carter Hayne holding off Arjun Lakshmi in R7. We don't see him quite right now. Davin Sturdivant, by the way, did get by him. see the return of Don Debian, trying to hunt down Raf Cabrera.
Car train, just because it's out of the top 10 doesn't mean it's not some great racing here. As further up, we're with Grayson Head. Big wiggle on the exit of Spoon there. Almost got by Loie Michaud. Takes his Aston Martin all the way to the inside, trying to break the slipstream of that Mercedes behind him through 130R. You can hear maybe a little bit of standing on the brakes there from Grayson Head. Oh, he is running the Nix OS livery. He mentioned this to me. Had this livery cooking for a little bit. Just mentioned I'm a computer science guy. This is one of my favorite open softwares. Want to give him a tip of the hat. So it's Nix OS software colors for Grayson Head. Do not ask me what that is because I do not know. I'm sure he'd be happy to tell us. As Joaquin Munoz and Peter Liu both trying to get around Don Debian. Further up front, Charles and Kashidurian stretched out, but certainly not over. But we're looking at this 4-car freight train here from 12th back. And it leads with the Saskatchewan native, Don Debian. Running an old GT Omega rig. Got some HE Sprints, SimCube Sports, Acer Shift, and a button box. Man, that's exactly what I was running this week at World of Racing. That's such a nice rig. Very nice. Second place in the AM category, Carter Hayne, Tennessee kid. So far on the backside of this Honda battle, 4-6, Davin Sturdivant got by ahead of him. Arjun, by the way, has split away from that 3-car battle ahead of him. All of those guys have kind of spread out at this point. So can we see Arjun cut that gap and go for 7-6? We'll see. Flat 6 Symphony continues. Further back, Joaquin Munoz hunting down Peter Liu. Two of the best sounding cars going toe-to-toe here. Debian a little bit further ahead, but is certainly not out of striking distance. Raf Cabrera sees this in his mirrors, though. He's trying to get his head down and get as much space from this as possible. Porsches being run this season, Joaquin Munoz and Zach Leclerc. Both of them showing pace, but have just been hit by bad luck and driver error. Looking for their right moments. Same can be said for Jorge Blasini Rivera, as he continues to hunt down Jeffrey Arroyo, the two guys we saw battle earlier on. We've got trouble for Peter Liu coming out of the hairpin. I'm not sure what happened there. Wasn't able to get to it in time. Liu, Beclaire, and I believe John Crane are three drivers with mistakes so far.
As it looks like there was another issue just there as we missed some error for Jeffrey Arroyo, and that'll force Jorge Blasini Rivera up into 4th. And meanwhile, some 10 seconds ahead now, just 15 minutes into this race. A league of their own. Honda sandwich right now for the entire field. Your last place driver, John Cran. Still looking for a top 10 this season in that Jack Motorsports machine. 15-second penalty for Joaquin Munoz, issued by Race Control. By the way, looking at the sectors right now, you want to look out for Greg Kachadurian in Sector 3. Charles has him beat on the first sectors. Just a smidge faster than Charles through this final sector, including 130R here as Blasini Rivera shows us the way. Big slide there! This could be a pass going into Casio Triangle. A big slide from Lugo Ortiz. Blasini Rivera to the outside. Lugo Ortiz keeps it together after a big slide through 130R, but he's not out of the woods yet. Arroyo watches in the just ahead of him, trying to maybe pounce on these two going at it. Blasini looking for a move, won't do it into turn number 1. Further ahead. AutoCam isn't letting me switch to it. Mikhail Charles and Greg Kachadurian also went wheel to wheel. As it has been fangs out driving all night. Not going to happen here through the Degnas, certainly. We were teased at Silverstone of what these two going at it at a race distance could be. And now we're finally getting it through the hairpin. It is jarringly close, these two battles right now, as we see the exact same thing happen right now in the battle for 3rd between Lugo Ortiz and Jorge Blasini Rivera, excuse me. This is some incredible stuff here, quarter into this race. Ooh, trouble, Blasini Rivera! Big error, he's gonna cut through the chicane massively! So that will be fight over for now. And the boulder goes back to the bottom of the hill for Blasini Rivera as he holds on to 4th right now, but we've got a Porsche Cup battle going on right now between these two. Joaquin Munoz and Zach Leclerc into Casio. Ooh, bit of a nudge on the bumper there, Leclerc. On board with Leclerc. Back at the damage report here for Blasini Rivera. It doesn't look too bad
obviously pretty quickly back on the bumper here. The only issue is now Jeffrey Arroyan is right there with him. Great thing we've seen this whole season is not only have we consistently seen battles, we've consistently seen battles with the same 5-6 guys. Whether it's the front, whether it's battles for the podium like this. Some phenomenal stuff so far. And now Arroyan goes very wide there. I thought he was going to take a pounce maybe into Casio, but he'll wait. As Rivera gets a really good run here through Casio. Big error one lap for Lugo Ortiz. Big error in the next lap for Rivera. And now they're bunched up once more. Here goes Arroyan to the inside. Monster run here through turn number 1. Lets it stick to the inside. Arroyan tries to hug to the inside to maybe get a switch back, but done deal for Jeffrey Arroyan. Top 5 drive. Just like that, the Daytona, Florida native works his way into the top 5. Is going to try 4 with a move around Lugo Ortiz. Further back, we'll get to the footage here if we can momentarily. Carter Hayne has continued to catch up to Davin Sturdivant. As we've got the kind of no man's land cam right now. Arjun Lakshmi, we said he was trying to maybe work his way towards this battle and take off from Loic Michaud, and that is exactly what he's done. Native Indian, American citizen. Big slide in that Jumpy Whale Mustang. As we just missed the pass for the lead. No! Greg Katadurian takes it, but he's not out of the woods yet. Here comes Mikhail Charles to the inside. Takes a peek. Now tries the outside. Big spit of flame from Mikhail Charles in that NSX. Can Mikhail Charles hold on and keep this battle alive, or is Katadurian gonna let that pony gallop into the Suzuka night? It's certainly not over yet through the S's. Through the Degnas, surely we're not going to see a move here. 200R into the Degnas. Big run a curve there from Katadurian. The move itself happened through Casio Triangle. Here goes Charles to the outside into the hairpin. Doesn't quite get it done as Katadurian is trying to make that Mustang as wide as possible. We haven't seen an overtake yet through Spoon. Is this where we could see it? Some manic driving from Mikhail Charles has kept this lap alive so far, not even halfway into this 4th week race. Casio Triangle is where it got done last time. What'll happen here? Stays glued to the bumper of Katadurian.
And as we reach the halfway point, you've got to ask what we're potentially going to see strategy-wise, not just for those two, but for this whole 3-car train. Are we going to see everybody coming to the pits at the same time? Are we going to see some over or undercuts? What's going to be the proper move here? No matter where you look, there's a fight going on. Here's another Arroyo to the inside of Lugo Ortiz. They both touch. Big slide. Adriel Lugo Ortiz goes and swaps ends. Trouble in turn 1. He'll back out of it, and it'll be heartbreak for the defending amateur winner. We'll see if race control responds to that. But heartbreak so far for Adriel Lugo Ortiz. Demoted down to 8th now. Lakshmi promoted to 7th. Is now in the sights of Loic Michaud. Oh, in trouble further back! Michaud had a little bit of a rally himself. So we'll keep you posted if Arroyo gets sent to the pen for that. But in what has been some stellar racing here at Suzuka, results in thrills for Arroyo and in agony for Adriel Lugo Ortiz. And now with some handy evasion, kind of activated by that Lugo Ortiz spin, you can call this a 3-car battle for 6th. Carter Hayne, Davin Sturdivant, Arjun Lakshmi Narasimhan, the caboose of this train. As do I hear some takers to pit lane? Yes, we do. Jorge Blasini Rivera, Mikhail Charles. There you go. We got a split strategy for the lead. Excuse me. So Kashidurian's going to run long, but Mikhail Charles is going to try and go to fresh rubber here and see if that's what he needs. We know he has the 1-lap pace to get it done. But clean air is going to be absolutely everything here. Kachidurian leads. This is a bit early on the strategy side to go to pit lanes, but you're about 50-50, so over the next 10 minutes we should see everybody in here. Sturdivant, actually the first out of the pits right now, according to my data. It's Blasini Rivera, Grayson Head, Zach Baclair, and Joaquin Munoz all taking trips to pit lane, which makes this a 2-car fight between Arjun Lakshmi Narasimhan and Carter Hayne. Battle for the lead in AM. What can Mikhail Charles do in clean air, and what can Greg Kashidurian do without him breathing down his neck? Let's find out. Kashidurian into the pits. Let's see if we have any other takers out of this 2-car battle, which is basically for your amateur division lead here. Carter Hayne was inhibited it with the Lugo Ortiz spin. Both drivers in. So Kashidurian and Arroyo will lead laps for the first time tonight. As both Carter Hayne and Arjun Lakshmi Narasimhan come into the pits. Fastest lap for Mikhail Charles. He's behind Peter Leo, who's still to pit. As both of these two come into the pits. Hard to tell exactly where they are at execution here. Here comes Kashidarian out of the pits. Where is Mikhail Charles in the picture? He's in front of him! Tries to get around Peter Liu. This is going to be major trouble for Greg Kashidarian, who's got to get by Peter Liu. He'll give it to him relatively easily. And this fight is far from over. Don Debian now making his way into the pits. So Arroyan leads overall. Lugo Ortiz goes back to the lead in the M class. Still to pit is those two, as well as Michel, Raf Cabrera, Peter Liu, John Cran. Everybody else is pitted at this point. And now it is crunch time for Greg Kashidarian, who is going to try and close this gap one more time for the lead. Raf Cabrera playing the long game here in his NSX. Tried it at Barcelona and it worked. We're gonna see what that can turn into. Same with Jeffrey Arroyan here. So Charles with the lead, but it's certainly not over for Greg Kashidarian. Just a second and change back now. But that clean air is absolutely going to help Charles. Next car is about 8 seconds up in the form of this man right here, Raf Cabrera. John Cran still to pit, last to 8th for the time being. He's also trying to run the long game here, as Peter Liu comes to the pits. And just like that, the battle is back on. Apologies for a brief pause in connection there. Back to half a second, less than half a second now through Spoon. Again, Kashidarian has the legs in that Mustang. Charles has to play defense, which is something we haven't seen him do that much this year. Jeffrey Arroyan finally comes to the pits. So this is officially now your battle for the lead. New best lap for Greg Kashidarian won't count because he pushed track limits. But these guys are continuing to run qualifying speed here. Raf Cabrera and John Crane also work their way into the pits. interesting seeing these two because it's such a vast contrast of not just cars, but the human beings driving them. Die-hard car fan his whole life, Greg Cashadurian, real-life Mustang owner, which motivated his choice to, of course, run this car. Meanwhile, you've got just an esports and gaming fan in the form of Mikhail Charles, admitted he didn't actually get interested in racing until, like most people in recent history, Drive to Survive. Just wanted a way to get in and experience it. So you've got a SimLabs Fanatec CSL user versus a guy using a 10-year-old Logitech driving force right now. Lugo Ortiz and Micho go into the pits. This is your battle for the lead out right now. Trinidad's Mikhail Charles versus Roswell George's Greg Cashadurian. 27.5 minutes to go here at Suzuka. Cashadurian looking to the outside. Will go later on the brakes, hangs it all the way around the outside. Still side by side to the second apex. Nobody giving an inch here on the exit. They'll continue to battle. Don't end in heartbreak, boys. Cashadurian hangs it to the inside through the S's. Done deal, a nuclear move for Greg Cashadurian. Gets that Mustang back to the front. The fourth lead change of the night in the least likely of places. Cashadurian gets it done in the S's. When Jimmy Broadbent mentions that the cars and the drivers themselves aren't real, but the racing is, this is exactly the stuff we are talking about. In what has so far been an all-timer battle right now between Greg Cashadurian and Mikhail Charles. Half a second put up, and it's back to the way the script was at the start. One lap fresher of rubber here for Cashadurian, and I'm not sure if that's going to be a factor. He goes really wide there, Cashadurian. Charles down but not out, makes some great progress there through Casio Triangle. Sun now fully set, tracks cooling, but the battles are just heating up. As the Honda battle continues, Carter Hayne, with a magnificent execution on strategy, is playing Minister of Defense once again. This time it's Davin Sturdivant. Big slide there. You can see Davin really knowing the limits here of the car and kind of doing that four-wheel slide, that the effect he likes to call the eraser on paper, saying that just being over that edge of grip is the fastest way to navigate around a racetrack. We've seen this kind of driving not just from an instant standpoint, but from a tactical standpoint. This is a guy that waits for the right moment to pounce, like when Carter Hayne goes wide in the hairpin, and you're going too wide now through 200R. Slightly better exit for Carter Hayne. He'll have to lift a bit through 200R, and he'll back out of it.
So position swap there between 7th and 6th. Here's your battle for 10th. Get Grayson Head versus Zach Leclerc. And the comeback drive for the comic book Porsche from an early slide. That gap for the lead, by the way, is only growing now. Michael Charles with a 2.5 on Greg Kashadurian. Leclerc trying to spook Grayson Head there with a peek to the inside. Through 130R, we're not going to see an overtake there, I guarantee it. So still 20 minutes to go and Kashadurian's digging, but that fight is far from over. You could say the same for the fight in AM. Absolutely. Arjun Lakshmi, you can see that's Davin and Carter just behind them in 6th and 7th. And Carter could be able to ride that train all the way to this jumpy rail Mustang. And that big slide we saw out of Arjun just costed him a second there in that battle. Ooh, big moment there for Grayson Head. He goes wide there through the second Degnas. Are we going to see him move into the hairpin? Bit of a lockup there from Grayson. Leclerc takes a peek to the inside. This fight far from over. Battle for the lead stays very much alive. Battle for the AM lead stays very much alive. And a big moment there, lock up for both of them. I think there might have been contact between the two of them through Casio. I'm not entirely sure what happened. I think a little bit of contact between the two, a little bit of a wiggle. But no harm, no foul right now. Don Debian and Raf Cabrera, you see those two behind them in that McLaren and Honda. They want to end the night in the top 10 as well. So Hugo, Minnesota's Zach Leclerc continues to track down Grayson Head here. Grayson only been sim racing for about a year. Texas native, has been drag racing with his dad his whole life. Yeah, what he told me about the Nixos livery is just one of his favorite open source projects. Actually gave me the tag there. He had it on his non-Evo, his rookie version of this car, the Mercedes, but just got it for the Evo version just this time by. And that is in the latest livery pack that I am yet to install. Grayson also running like like Michael Charles, a Driving Force GT. He's running that with a HP Reverb G2. Leclerc on direct drive. He's running a Fanatec CSL, McLaren GT3 wheel, and some TLC on. Got some load cell pedals. Very nice. So this battle continues, but further back, Don Debian and Raf Cabrera. Cabrera gets by the end of the turn. And Debian continuing to knock off the rust here. Cabrera about 2 seconds back from this battle. Let's see if he can maybe close this gap now. Back to your leader, Greg Cacciadurian. Lap traffic has become a issue at this point in the race, or it's about to be, with John Crane coming in as we just missed the pass here for 10th. Zach McLaren, I'm going to try the instant replay here, and it might brick my computer. Oh boy. Oh, we got it! Here we go! Tries the outside. Big bit of defense there, holding it on the inside for Grayson Head. Fairly simple move there for McLaren to get himself into 10th. There was a split second there I thought we weren't going to come back from that. Again, formal invitation is out right now to any of the normal Tuesday night drivers who want to hang out in here with me and kill the ever visible dead air. And here as the round goes, Raf Cabrera. Debian goes back to 12th. Oh, that's a classic right there, as I've gotten caught up there. Outside kind of grass on that final turn comes to you quick, and you gain speed a lot faster than you think with that being a downhill corner. Absolutely something that can happen to the best of us. And the boulder goes back to the bottom of the hill for Don Debian. Excuse me, for Raf Cabrera, who's now 7 seconds behind. Just over 15 minutes to go here at Suzuka. We just saw both of these boys slide big time here through the Degnas. You're probably wondering, by the way, why we have so many Hondas in this field. And without chasing the meta too hard, it's a regular in the series for a while now. We've seen Davin and a lot of other guys use it. But also because of balance of performance. Now, anybody who isn't super familiar with GT3 racing in the real world, again, you've got plenty of different car combinations in how it's composed. Whether you have, I mean, a great example is what we see right now. Zach McLaren, this low-slung exotic Porsche, and you've got this Grand Touring Mercedes behind it. Case in point, you've got a lot of different types of cars. So balance of performance is what keeps all of these cars in GT3 homologation relatively close in performance by limiting the engines. Now, Kunos and ACC have their own kind of updates to changing what is considered to be the meta. And
very much can be lopsided in certain cases. So Low Fuel Motorsport, a league of their own, very, very popular online league, has their own BOP system based on hot lapping, and it isn't just based on aggregate of all lap times. It's based on hot lapping for every single track that we go to. So it's taking hundreds of different lap times from around ACC, from different skill levels, and instead of changing the amount of horsepower going into the engine, we don't have power over that, but we do have power over the ballast, over how much weight we actually have in the car. Hondas right now are by far given the most mercy. They're 18 kilograms lighter than normal. And both the Porsches, and we don't have a Ferrari in tonight. Michael Quant not running that with us. But both the Ferrari and the Porsche very much adding a couple of pounds. Ferrari and Porsche 14 kilograms heavier. And it's certainly a trend. Honda has consistently been the most, for lack of a better term, buffed over the course of the season. Heaviest by far has been the Ferrari. Porsche's also been... The Porsche's gotten its own kind of healthy buff, but it's been fairly consistent. Was 7 kilograms for the first couple of races, was doubled this weekend at Japan. So you ask yourself, well, why do we have House of Practice? Why do we have these resources for these guys when they can go out and do their own laps? It's so that these guys can actually see what the car is like with this extra weight, because it's very hard to get access to that in any other way. Just over 10 minutes to go here at Suzuka, and we finally are starting to see battles die down. Biggest one on track right now is the one that has stayed fairly close all night. Carter Hayne and Davin Sturdivant. Hayne led off ahead of Davin. Davin got past him. Hayne beat him out on strategy, and now once again Sturdivant with the lead with 11 minutes on the clock. Should go without saying, by the way, but no action given to Jeffrey Arroyan and his contact earlier with Jorge Blasini Rivera. Or excuse me, with Adriel Lugo Ortiz. And Arjun has not really gotten away from these guys. It was 4 seconds last time we checked. That's gone down to 2.5. Davin absolutely closing that gap. And Carter is definitely going with it. Lugo Ortiz. We can call that a fairly done battle here for the podium, as Lugo Ortiz is about 13 seconds back, and then Loic Michaud 8 seconds back after that. So Lugo Ortiz will stand on the bottom step of the podium, keep everything together.
So just to reiterate, 2 1-hour races, 1 today, the second one starts at 11 tomorrow, it's Sunday at Suzuka. This is the sort of circuit that brings these drivers out to play. This is why the racing drivers Suzuka is such a
Again, apologies for the issues with connection here. We'll call it blame on ACC servers for any of the rookie viewers in chat. is Lugo Ortiz, who has come back big time here, for sure. Oh, we got trouble again! McLaren went around again! I'm gonna try and load the replay here so we can see what happened. It worked last time. Looks like it didn't go fully around there, but maybe just carried a little bit too much speed there going into the S's. So business as usual. I'm not sure if... I feel like I might have saw the meatball flag there being waved, so I'm not sure if there's damage for Zach. The car itself looks fine. Kashadurian now 8 seconds over Mikhail Charles. 16 seconds back from him is Jeffrey Arroyan. And another 10 seconds, it's Arjun, and that's your...
Beautiful afternoon at Suzuka, and as our pole starter Martin Rowan was saying, it's hot. It wasn't hot this morning. So it's gone from about 10.
Battle continues to heat up here. 6 minutes to go. Gavin Sturdivant within a second now of Arjun Lakshmi Narasimhan. Bit of a wiggle there. Synthwave lights on for Davin. Again, everyone has the option to run these kind of identification LEDs, the party lights as we like to call them here. No need, but it helps us in the booth figure out who's who, especially in the darkening conditions like this. And this is nowhere near as dark as it was for Snetterton. We actually have lights on the track this time by. But again, always something unique and challenging about night racing. Just under 5 minutes to go here. Kashadurian in cruise control for the lead. But the battle for 5th right now is what you're watching right now. Davin Sturdivant trying to hunt down Arjun Lakshmi Narasimhan. Arjun had a great execution on strategy, tried kind of going the long run here. And that gave him almost a 4-second buffer on both David and Carter Hayne. Who, by the way, is just a second and change behind these two now. And obviously that gap has now fully closed. Kashadurian was showing what this Mustang can do in the long bits, but we know what Davin can do with this NSX once things start turning. All things considered, again, you gotta give a tip of the cap to Arjun, who's again doing all of this with an Xbox 360 controller. Sold his wheel for moving.
wanted to stay involved with NASRS and just elected to move over to what a couple people in the league already have used. But when you've got one of the most powerful cars on half-an-hour-old tires, cooling track conditions, and Davin Sturdivant hogging up your rearview mirror, this is absolutely going to be a drive worth all the flowers for Arjun. Carter Heng is going to be waiting in the wings here, because if and when Davin can get past him, it could be a battle for the win here in AM. Through the S's, we know that this is where Davin is fast. Always cool to see the glow of the tailpipes there. Wish we had a better shot of the brake rotors as they kind of glow in the zones. Love the little details Kunos gives us there. And now this has definitely become a three-car fight. Further back, we're watching Raf Cabrera finally work his way back to Don Debian. Big spin out earlier on the final corner. And he could try and finish this where it started last time in Casio Triangle as they're working their way towards that third sector. Debian goes very wide, big snap of oversteer, and that'll instantly make it a done deal for Raf Cabrera. Debian rejoins him. Peter Liu is going to try and now get that 12th spot from Don Debian. Back to 5th. 30 seconds left on the clock, which means this should be it for Greg Kashadurian. As the two-time champion works his way to the line, this is far from over. Through Casio Triangle for the final time. An inconsistent season, but it'll be the return of King Kashadurian. He'll win week 4 at Suzuka. And now it's all eyes on AM class in 5th place. The time is now. If it's not going to be a Hail Mary in a Casio Triangle, it's going to be right here into Spoon. Nothing quite yet. This is for 5th, and this is for the lead in AM. Davin Sturdivant going for 5th place. Carter Heng going for the AM lead behind him. Arjun for the defense. Last time through 130R, who's got the biggest cojones? Nobody goes wide. Home stretch for these three. An amazing drive in one man's toil is another man's treasure. Arjun Lakshmi Narasimhan back in victory lane in NASRS. We're gonna watch Grayson Head drive to the line here. Zach McClare's closed that gap again after his little excursion. I gotta black flag my internet, man. That is a wrap. Kachadurian, your winner. Charles in second. Arroyan in third. Your AM winner, Arjun Lakshmi Narasimhan in fourth. Davin Sturdivant is fifth. Carter Haynes sixth. Lugo Ortiz seventh. Loic Michaud in eighth. Grayson Head in ninth. And Zach Peclair, if I'm reading that right, rounds out your top 10. We'll grab some people for some post-race really quickly. Stay with us. Got some post-race interviews coming our way. Let's start with your runner-up in the pro class, Mikhail Charles. Hi, Mikhail.
Hello.
Obviously, I know not the result you wanted, but man, that was fun to watch. Was it as fun for you guys to drive?
I mean, it was fun, but it was also stressful. Very, very stressful. A lot of pressure.
Talk to me about that kind of second trading of positions there. What made it rough for you to keep pace there with Greg?
I think I pushed too hard on my outlap and I destroyed my tires. I had
Really?
yeah, so I was just sliding all over the place. So that's my mistake. I just kind of pushed a little too hard, took a little too much curbs, and it was just gone. So for that entire stint, I was just trying to not to die, basically. That's why I had no pace.
You were trying the undercut. Is there any maybe regrets on that strat now?
No. The strat was fine, to be honest. I just killed it way too early. Because even on my first like 3 laps, I had no pace, no grip. So it's just my fault. The undercut I think was the right move there. I got him by like a second, but then I just keep slipping.
All right, off to Valencia next week. How are we feeling?
Is it wet?
That's a great question, and that's something I should know, and it's not.
Oh, it's not? Oh man.
No. I don't know.
Okay,
It
if
totally
it's wet,
could be. Please,
it's wet. I'm feeling very nice. Yes.
please refer to your local Davin for that information. Actually, with Arjun chiming in, I'm going to kick you out. Mikhail, great driving today. We'll see you next week.
Yeah, bye.
Let's go over to Arjun Lakshmi Narasimhan. Arjun, was that your first freaking win in NASRS?
I think it's my third, actually. I won one in like season 9, and then I won like season 18, I think. So Yeah, it's not my first, but it's my first Amvin and the first with the controller and after my break. So yeah.
I know this probably wasn't something you were expecting today, but really quickly, talk to me about what happened when you saw that Adriel Lugo Ortiz lost it.
Oh, when I lost it, I was kind of happy. I'm not, I don't want to lie there, but yeah, I was kind of happy. Like, oh my god, I have a shot at getting the win because there's no way I'm catching him on pace. But yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate for him. The Merc is kind of scary to drive here. I
Oh,
think
for
he
sure.
was tapped by someone, but so it's kind of unfortunate for him. But yeah, I'm just happy that I feel like I'm just lucky that I was in the right position to capitalize on that because he did rejoin right behind me.
I feel like the Mustang might be weirdly nice for you as a controller user at Suzuka just because of how comfy that car is maybe sometimes with controllers.
I kind of disagree. Well, the
Really?
Mustang I think has the stability which you all to get in the wheel, but the hairpin was just so difficult. Like the Mustang's already kind of rough in the hairpin, and just trying to throw brake, get the car to slow down, and get the car to have that turn in while on brakes, while traveling under brakes, is just so difficult. And that's where I lost most of the time in the race. It's just getting the car slowed down for the hairpin.
What was the mindset watching that delta with Davin get smaller and smaller and knowing that he was taking Carter with him towards you?
Well, I was kind of hoping that he'd actually fall back more because he pitted earlier than me, so I was just hoping his tires would fall off. But also, I was just like focused. I was just starting to lose my focus. I was like locked in way at the start of the race, and I just kept. I was just super concentrated, like towards the end of the race, and I just started tiring myself out physically, even with the controller, and mistakes started to come. I just couldn't find the pace, and I was like, I'm just gonna try keeping you behind if you get too close, which I did.
Awesome. Well, congrats, Arjun. We will see you next week at Valencia.
Thank you.
Couple more interviews coming your way. Be right back. I'll take one out of the Alex Jakes book here. Don't call it a comeback. He truly has been here for years. Greg Kachadurian off the bench after a 2-week break to win at Suzuka. Greg, I think that was that as fun for you as it was for us to watch battling with Mikhail there?
The racing aspect definitely was. Some of the ACC isms, like him being able to overtake me before the lights even went green, that was pretty annoying. So it was a fun battle, but the entire time I was really annoyed. But the racing, yeah, was a ton of fun. I ran a bunch of laps with Mikhail in the practice servers, so I knew it was going to be really close and really hard to pass him if I had to. And yeah, it was a ton of fun. He raced very well.
Was the game plan always for you to maybe go the long run and see if you could get clean air out of that and kind of do the overcut, or what was kind of the plan for strategy?
The best strategy was actually undercutting. He got me. He pitted the lap before me when I did finally pass him. And I mean, he came out ahead. I mean, I came out behind him because of that. So I knew about how long my tires would last before this car got pretty difficult to drive, and I would lose a bunch of times. So I kind of had an idea of about when I was going to pit. Yeah.
Arjun, Arjun mentioned how difficult it is to keep the tires under you sometimes, especially when he's using a 360 controller. And Mikhail said he cooked his tires on that outlap, and that kind of paid off long term. Was there how much confidence was there for you in once I get by this guy, I might have a chance of getting a gap on him?
Oh no, I knew that once I got past him, I would be able to just run my lines, and as long as I kind of kept the Mustang's weaknesses under control, or kind of mitigated them as best I could, I knew I would run away because I knew what times I could do. Like in practice on race fuel, I was running 58s the other night, so I know what I can do. I know what my car is going to feel like at the 30 to 35 minute mark. But yeah, I mean the Mustang, like, it's fast, but to make it turn well, you really have to make the rear end unstable, and it gets even worse as the tires go. And especially in the hairpin, I literally have a button mapped to go down a TC4 every time. Because like if you're on a higher TC, it works everywhere else really good, but it's just is terrible out of the hairpin. So basically, to reduce the amount of time I lose there, especially to a NSX with minus 20 kilograms, I had to go down and basically just light up the rears every time. So that definitely made it worse, but it was kind of necessary.
Greg, absolute all-timer drive. We'll see you next week at Valencia. Hopefully.
Thanks,
yes.
Buddy. Yeah. Assuming that I'm not still crying in the corner before the race starts.
You're gonna be fine.
I hate that track, and it's in the rain. So
it is raining. Okay. Oh, mama. Yeah. Okay.
I'm not expecting good things at all.
It'll be fine. You're gonna be fine. Okay. Yeah, bye.
Thanks, buddy. Thanks, bud.
Let's go talk to our last spot on the podium in Pro, Jeff Arroyan. Jeff, I know it was kind of a high-low race for you with a couple of collisions, but still a fantastic result. Talk to me about your race.
Oh, God. Well, I mean, I from the beginning, it was kind of going to be interesting because I fell back. Like, I was kind of behind Greg, and I did kind of the same thing. I just reacted late, and so I kind of fell behind there, and I was like, okay, well, I don't know if I'm going to be able to, like, we're going to have an interesting time beyond that point is kind of what I was starting to think. And then just the battle the whole time was crazy right until that moment. And then I was like, okay, well, and also, I mean, like, so, I mean, I don't know. It was a thing. I'm kind of a little bit angry that I got squeezed as much as I did. And then that whole thing happened. But, like, up until then, I felt like that was pretty good. Definitely missed my breaking point that one time.
Yeah.
I don't know if you caught that.
With Jorge?
No, it was, well, Jorge missed it too. He did the exact same thing that I did, I think.
Both you guys into Casio, right?
Yeah, it was exactly the same spot. I don't know if...
I thought there was a little bit of a touch there.
I don't think so.
I could be so wrong.
Because I think Jorge lost or did the same thing, like, I think 2 or 3 laps later than I did. I'm pretty sure. But I think we both did exactly the same thing. So I don't know if, like, both of us have much better brakes than we thought we did.
Yeah.
Or broke away later or something. Like, I don't know what happened there, how we both had the same problem.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was the thing. And yeah, just, I kind of knew by the middle, I kind of felt like my tires weren't actually as cooked as I thought they might be. And I was like, okay, well, now I'm going to run out the stint a little bit. Ran out the stint. Felt like I did pretty good. Got a little bit of a gap to Jorge. And then that was kind of about, I mean, like, after that point, yeah, that was kind of about it. It's kind of just, I don't know, it was just driving at that point, towards the end, unfortunately. I really wish it could have been more. But yeah, it was kind of just driving.
I really wish I was streaming my Discord screen right now because he's got Nitro and he's got the little breakdancing cat, and every time he talks, it does the dance, and it's beautiful. Last thing, and I'll let you go here. I feel like you are not someone who purveys chaos, but rides it and makes the most out of it. Does that make you feel good knowing whatever's about to go down in Valencia?
I mean, it could always go pretty good. I mean, like, there's always the chance, right? There's always the chance.
Always a chance.
but I mean, like, we've definitely, I feel like in the past from previous years, I've definitely also had moments where, like, the front dies and then we have the whole field that's, like, stacking in, like half of the field's plowing you to turn one and you're like, oh, this isn't going to go good, So, I mean, I don't know. Valencia is a weird track, maybe maybe things will go well, maybe not. Like it could just be that we all compressed into turn one and we all have incidents. Like I don't know. We'll see, but it'll be fun either way.
Awesome drive for you today, Jeff. We'll see you next week.
Yep. See you next week.
I now feel like I have to rip the duct tape off of this next person to finally let him talk. It's the owner of NASRS and our sensei, Davin Sturdivant. Hi.
Rude. Hey.
That
rude,
was cool.
Correct, but rude. Yeah, it was fun. I had a lot of fun.
So walk me through that, because I felt like you and Carter were bumper to bumper that whole dang thing.
I feel like every race I have, that's how it works out. There's someone I end up going on a
Just
date
run
with.
into.
And
Yeah.
Yeah, and so this week it was Carter, and I like Carter because I can trust him. So that was fun. I got a chance to pace him for a while, and there's only one track area on the track that I was like significantly faster than him, but everywhere else I could kind of just pace with him. So that made it easier to calm down. You weren't trying to run away from a car, or
Right.
you weren't. He was going to keep with you on most of the track anyway. So that was really nice. And then in the place that I typically hate, I made 2 passes there, so that's a plus. So yeah, great day, and then caught up with Arjun, and then we got into a train, and yeah.
Was there anything in your mind maybe thinking about a Hail Mary on Arjun for 5th?
Not really. I was beating myself up because I had a lousy pit stop, and that's kind of what flipped things around. I was actually happier that I was able to come from a crap pit stop to like basically net 6 seconds down on both cars to basically being on top of Arjun by the end. So I could tell that he was running out of tire, and I was trying to kind of wait for him because he was losing a lot of time out of the hairpin and going through Spoon and a few other places. So I was kind of hoping that his car would take care of himself. So I kind of paced with him and see. It's like, he did such a good job to get all the way up there. Making a big throw on a track like this, it's going to be hard for him to see you. So, if it works, it works. If it doesn't, still good race.
So it's funny because I feel like every time I drag you in here, you are subjecting us to like something not necessarily miserable, but certainly interesting.
Yeah.
Valencia in the wet.
Yeah.
Why you do that?
I have an NSX, so that's why. No, the reason why is because we haven't done Valencia in the wet. So
That's
it's
true.
which is one of the combos we haven't done, and there's only so many of them. So every once in a while, I'll throw an awkward one in there that like nobody would choose to do. But I actually think it's going to be a lot of fun as long as people behave themselves. It'll become a really slow speed track, and there's a lot of places for the cars to kind of move around. So even though the rhythm's kind of awkward, I think it'll be interesting. So I think it'll be more fun than people are giving it credit for. But I also am a sadist. So there you go.
We already knew that.
Yeah.
Great job running the show as always. Thank you so much, Davin. We'll see you next week.
Yeah, good job, Jackson.
Let's talk to the other side of that entire battle, Carter Hain. Hi, Carter. Let's talk about this freaking battle, man. First of all, the strategy choice of kind of trying to run the long game here and maybe get a jump on Davin. Talk to me about that.
Mostly it was, I don't want to die. Let's keep the car on the track. Let's make the NSX happy. Let's survive the race. And you may have seen I had an off in Dunlop, turn 7. That gifted position to, that's how Davin got ahead of me. So then it was like, okay, but I can keep up with him. So let's do that. Because I don't want to lose the position to Arjun, though, spoiler alert, he got me in the pits. So at that point, it's just like, okay, keep up with both of them. If Arjun really biffs it, I get the win. Otherwise, I get to have a fun battle. So, I mean, in either way, it was a win-win for me. But, if I had hit my pit box correctly, Arjun and I would have came out of the pits blazing rather than, him, then me 2 seconds later, and that would have made it even hotter. But, I'm just happy I wound up still in the position I started in. I didn't go tumbling back, dying in 130R.
Arjun mentioned that there were kind of like fireworks going off in his head when he knew Edriel kind of biffed it. And obviously you never want anyone to be in that scenario, but it's like, I've got a chance to win suddenly. Did you see what happened there? And did you kind of realize what was potentially going to happen?
Oh, yeah. I realized. I knew I qualified in second in AM. And when I passed him in turn 1, I passed him. Okay, kept control. And then it occurred to me, wait a minute. That means I'm in the lead now. Oh, my God. What? Pressure? Oh, God. So, it was exciting. Even though Arjun wound up getting the best of me, there at the end, the pressure was beginning to build. And I think Arjun was starting to get worn out, or his tires were getting worn out. I was like, oh, God. Oh, what's going to happen?
I know there certainly wasn't a Hail Mary or an attempt of it, but did you realize that you and Davin at the tail end there were kind of helping each other and kind of towing each other towards Arjun there at the tail end?
Yeah, I think so. And in the back of my head, I thought, Davin's a pro and the rest of us are AMs. I wonder if he could potentially help me if I get close enough. I didn't ever get close enough, but yeah, the thought was in my head.
Last thing here, and I'll let all four of you who have for some reason decided to stay in here go. Valencia in the rain is, as Davin described, could potentially have some really good racing. I think it could fit the Honda really well, as he mentioned. How are we feeling going into next week?
I feel quite excited based on, we had an NSX spec race at Kyalami in the wet. Davin and I had a very good time, and I think some of us who got along well with the NSX also had a good time, and we learned things about the car. So I'm thinking this is going to be better than some races I've done at Valencia. I mean, not that I kind of just don't love the track. I think we all kind of agree. It's like, it's okay, but with this car in the wet, it might not be so bad, but that's just my opinion.
All four of you boys have a lot of practice to do. I'll let you loose. Thank you so much, and best of luck next week. That is going to do it for us for week 4 here at Suzuka. We're back in España next week for Valencia in the rain. Same time, same place. Until then, I'm Jackson Lambros. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.